Jeff Paur, senior writer for RealTime Fantasy Sports, and welcome to another edition of the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. On today's show, I'm going to give you 5 waiver wire ads for Week 10 of the fantasy football season. There's a lot of players listed in my wavering article this week that you can read on rtsports.com, but these are 5 players I like the most out of all of those possible ads for Week 10. There's a lot of receivers that made my list this week, so if you're looking for receiver help, you might want to consider hitting that waiver wire this week. All right, here are my 5 waiver wire ads for Week 10, though. My first one is Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. So Tua had his best game as a pro last week, throwing for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns without a turnover. He seems to be getting more comfortable every week. In his second start, he looked much better. He ran the ball as well, which was encouraging too. He was scooped up in a lot of leagues, but he's still out there in 44% of leagues. I know the position's really deep, but I think Tua showed his fantasy potential in last week's game. He has some good matchups going forward as well. I think he could be a good spot play the rest of the season. My next waiver wire ad for Week 10 is Patriots receiver Jakobi Meyers. I know it was just a game, but you can't ignore his production from last week. Last night, he went off finishing with 12 receptions for 169 yards, but this isn't really a fluke. Meyers has been playing a bigger role in the offense in recent weeks. He actually has double-digit fantasy points 3 straight games. I think he's become the clear top option in this passing attack. Cam Newton's looking his way often. I know the Patriots aren't very good offensively, but somebody has to catch the ball. Right now, it looks like it's Meyers. I think he's worth picking up if you're looking for a receiver. My next waiver wire ad is Texans running back Duke Johnson. So David Johnson left last week's game with concussion. This puts his status in doubt for the coming week. He could miss the game this week. If that happens, Duke Johnson has a lot of fantasy value. And last week, when he was filling in for David Johnson, Duke had 73 total yards and a touchdown in an expanded role. He's an obvious must pick up if you own David Johnson. And even if you don't own David Johnson, I think Duke Johnson's worth a speculative ad if he gets a start this week. He could produce very well as a starter in that Texans offense. My next waiver wire ad for Week 10 is Panthers receiver Curtis Samuel. So Samuel's red hot right now. He has touchdowns 3 straight games. He had his first 100-yard receiving game of the season last week and a season-high 9 catches. He has at least 17 fantasy points 3 straight games. He's been a very consistent factor in this Panthers offense lately, and he's out there in some leagues as well. He's not owned in every league. He's available in 39% of leagues on our site. If you're looking for a receiver, I would go grab Samuel and use him going forward. I think he has good value the rest of the way. My last waiver wire ad is Jets receiver Brashard Perryman. So Perryman had some high hopes coming into this year, but he was hurt, banged up early in the year. He's finally healthy, though. He showed his potential last week. He finally had a big game, had 5 catches for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns in Week 9. We know he had a super finish to his season last year. He carried a lot of fantasy teams into the playoffs. He was a legit number 1 fantasy receiver for Tampa Bay the second half of last year, had a huge year, huge finish to his season, which led to his contract with the Jets. I know he's been banged up this year, been a disappointment, but he certainly has a talent to finish strong this year as well. The Jets aren't near the offense as Tampa was last year, but still, someone has to catch passes in this offense, much like Jakobi Meyers in New England. So Perryman, again, I think he's worth adding if you're looking for receiver help. All right, those are 5 waiver wire ads for Week 10 of the fantasy football season. Good luck navigating your waiver wire this week and have a lot of success in all of your Week 10 games. This has been Jeff Paur for RealTime Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.